While many on Wall Street embraced the Fed's immediate rate cut on Tuesday, 3/4 of 1 point, there are many critics out there who think that this is too aggressive by the Fed, that we're making money too cheap by this move. Jim Cramer, I want to ask you about this because at this point, 3.5% Fed funds rate, is that enough to revive the economy?
Right. There are two major ways that the Fed can make it so that a Citigroup, a Bank of America, Wachovia can make enough money to offset their charges, which is really what they're trying to do. One is to cut the Fed funds rate to a level where the space between what they have to pay depositors and what they can loan at is enough of a margin that they actually make a little money. When the Fed was tight at 4.25, and that was tight, you can see that they're paying out 4.25, they're lending at 5. It's not enough vig, okay, not enough profit. At 3.5 with lending at 5, then you start making 1.5, and that's beginning to get good. And why I say it's getting good is because you see that there's been, no one's talking about this, but a gigantic spike in mortgage refinances, which is really bullish for the economy. It's historically when you would buy Black & Decker or the retail. I mean, refis are really valuable for retail, and that is happening. So that makes it the retailing. I mean, there is some method to the madness what institutions are doing. That's one way, okay? The second way is to make it, and this is what they had to do in 1990, that they make money on their actual deposits, not their loans. I mean, in other words, every time they turn the light on, they make money. And the way that is, by the way, is that you cut interest rates to the point where they can take the capital that they are that they own, the deposits, okay, and they invest those deposits into your treasury. So they pay you 1.25 or 1.5, which is what would happen if the Fed kept cutting ultimately to where I want. And then they invest the proceeds at 2. So that they make a half a percent on every deposit that they have. So they make money every day. So net interest margins one way, and then investments are the other. These would then allow the banks to be able to take charges against that income, which is how you are finding a bottom. People are expecting that to happen. What I'm saying is that, boy, the Fed's, because of how low interest rates are, the Fed funds got to go really much, much lower. And I don't know if I can, suddenly everyone trusts this Fed to do that. I'm thinking that the net interest margin will do it. I don't know if they'll give you the second way to make money.
Do legislators then have just their heads in the clouds when they're saying, I'm hearing a lot of people on Congress and even Mayor Bloomberg yesterday worried about this Fed cut.
Yeah.
And saying, that's what got us into the problem in the first place.
One of the things about cuts that people don't realize is that you can change them. You get over the emergency, you get the banks liquefied, and then you can change them. And because there's not a lot of these bad lenders, the AmeriQuest left, the New Century Financials, you won't find a degree of recklessness that you saw before when the rates go down to 1. Now people are working with the rate. If the rates go down, the banks are really sticking to their knitting. So I think that worry is wrong. You can take the rates back up after we get through the crisis. The second thing is that I get criticized a lot for what I do. I mean, ultimately I did the largest YouTube video in finance ever saying this was going to happen, so I questioned the questioners. But those who think that this is a mistake may not know what the motivation is. I mean, it's entirely possible that one of these big banks called the Fed and said, listen, we're going to fail. And, if you don't do something. And that's what I was afraid of in August, why I wanted them to cut very fast, because I didn't want them to look like they're so far behind like they are, because it's embarrassing to the institute. The institution's embarrassing itself, and we know that. Hopefully they'll put it past them a few months from now. But, this is why Bernanke needed to move fast, is because now you're getting the people saying they don't know what they're doing. They didn't know what they're doing in August. Now they do have some idea what they're doing in January.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim Cramer. This is Wall Street Confidential on TheStreet.com TV. Don't go away.